Man, you won't believe what I saw at the 7-Eleven last night. It wasn't any sort of ghost crap or supernatural BS. But it messed me up so bad. I haven't slept since. I wish I'd never stopped for those damn chips. Alright, so, here's the thing. I'm not one for believing in ghost stories or any of that nonsense. But what happened to me last night? Man, it was. I don't know how to explain it, but it was real. It was a Friday night, and you know how it is, you're staying up late watching something on TV, playing some video games, or just chilling. At some point, my stomach started rumbling, and I thought, man, some chips would hit the spot right now. The only place nearby? That 7-Eleven down on Highway 15. It was kinda out of the way, but the munchies can make you do crazy things. So, I get in my car and drive over. The night was quiet, kinda eerie if I'm being honest. As I approached, the parking lot was bathed in that typical pale yellow glow from the overhead lights. A few cars were scattered here and there, their owners probably inside grabbing some midnight snacks or something. But, the one vehicle that really caught my eye was this old van. It was ancient, with patches of rust and peeling paint. It had one of those airbrushed murals on the side, you know the ones I'm talking about? Like from the 80s? This one had a howling wolf or something. It was faded and kind of creepy, not gonna lie. The store wasn't busy. Just me, the sleepy-looking cashier, and another customer or two. I started browsing, looking for my favorite brand of chips. That's when I felt it, someone watching me. I tried to brush it off, told myself it's late, and I'm just being paranoid. But I couldn't shake the feeling. I glanced over and saw this dude. Now, this wasn't just any random guy. He looked rough, kind of raggedy, wearing a tattered baseball cap that covered most of his face and a leather jacket that seemed older than the van outside. He stood by the cooler, not taking anything, just waiting. Our eyes met for a split second. His gaze was cold, distant. It sent a shiver down my spine. I quickly grabbed a bag of chips, maybe not even the one I wanted, and made a beeline for the cashier. As I placed the chips on the counter, I couldn't help but throw another glance towards the man. He was now talking to another customer, a younger guy, probably in his mid-20s. The young guy seemed nervous, constantly looking around and fidgeting. I paid for my stuff, and as I headed for the door, I overheard a snippet of their conversation. The older man whispered something about making it quick and no witnesses. What the hell was that? I thought to myself. As I stepped out of the 7-Eleven, the chill of the night air hit me. I started moving briskly towards my car, but curiosity got the best of me. I glanced back towards the store. Through the glass, I could see the older man and the younger guy still talking, but their conversation looked more heated now. The young guy's body language screamed distress. I unlocked my car and slid into the driver's seat, but I didn't start the engine. Something told me to wait, to watch. I know, it sounds stupid, like some horror movie cliché, but trust me, in the moment, it felt necessary. Minutes felt like hours. The younger guy eventually broke away from the conversation, heading towards the exit. As he stepped out, he looked left and right, almost as if he expected someone to be waiting for him. His steps were hurried as he darted towards a nearby car, not even the car closest to the entrance, but one parked a bit out of the way. The older guy didn't follow him immediately. He lingered at the coolers, finally selecting a drink. When he made his purchase, he didn't look rushed or bothered. The confidence in his steps was almost eerie. By now, I was genuinely freaked out. But, again, that nagging feeling of curiosity wouldn't let me just drive off. I watched as the older man stepped out and headed straight to the ancient van I had noticed earlier. He started the vehicle, its engine growling to life, and then drove off in the opposite direction of the younger man. Relieved, I turned on my car and started to drive away, but as I passed the younger man's car, I noticed something. He was just sitting there, not driving, not doing anything. His face was buried in his hands, and it looked like he was sobbing. On a whim, and maybe it was the wrong choice, I pulled over next to him, rolled down my window, and asked, "Hey, man, you okay?" He looked up, his eyes red and puffy. "I don't know," he stammered. I think I got involved in something I shouldn't have." His vague statement left me even more unnerved. "Do you want to talk about it?" I offered. He hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Maybe over some coffee." There was a 24-hour diner not too far from the 7-Eleven. It seemed like a good place to hear what this guy had to say. The diner had that typical old-timey feel, you know? Red vinyl booths, checkered floor, the smell of coffee in the air. It wasn't crowded, just a couple of truckers at the counter and a waitress who looked like she'd been working double shifts for a decade. We took a booth near the back, away from prying ears. We introduced ourselves properly. His name was Jake. After ordering our coffees, there was a moment of awkward silence. Jake looked like he was wrestling with something in his mind. Finally, he took a deep breath and began. "Look, I don't know why I'm telling you this, but I feel like I need to get it off my chest," Jake began. "That guy at the 7-Eleven? His name's Gary. He's a debt collector of sorts." I raised an eyebrow. "A debt collector? What, like for a bank or something?" Jake laughed bitterly. "I wish. No, he's for the kind of debts you rack up when you get involved in the wrong crowds. Gambling, drugs, you know." I nodded, beginning to understand. Jake continued, "A few months back, I made a couple of bad bets. Lost more money than I care to admit. Tried to dodge the people I owed, but they have a way of finding you. That's where Gary comes in. I met him tonight to sort things out, to buy myself some more time." Jake's voice trembled, but Gary doesn't work like other collectors. He doesn't threaten or intimidate. He offers deals. Weird ones. "What kind of deals?" I pressed. Jake sighed. He told me he'd wipe my debt clean. All I had to do was deliver a package for him. No questions asked. "Did you?" I began, but Jake cut me off. "No. Hell no." "But," he said something else. "If I didn't take his deal, he'd find someone close to me and offer them a similar deal. And if they agreed, I'd be the one paying the price. It's how he keeps people in line, how he ensures that someone always does his dirty work." The gravity of Jake's situation became clear to me. This wasn't just about money, it was a manipulative game where Gary always held the cards. As we finished our coffees, I felt a mix of sympathy and fear. I wasn't sure how to help Jake or if I even could. But I was now entangled in this web, and I couldn't just walk away. We left the diner, and as we walked out into the parking lot, the air seemed colder, more foreboding. The once deserted lot now had a few more cars. One of them, I noticed with a start, was the beat-up old van from the 7-Eleven. Gary's van. Jake noticed it too. His face went pale, eyes widening. "We need to go now," he whispered, grabbing my arm. We hurried to my car, got in, and I started it up. Before I could shift into drive, though, the van's headlights turned on, piercing the night. It started moving slowly towards us. "Drive!" Jake yelled. And drive I did. The roads were empty, and I took turns randomly, trying to lose the van, but it was always there, trailing behind us. It felt surreal, like a scene from a movie I never wanted to be part of. I could feel the panic rising in me, but it was Jake's next words that truly terrified me. He's not after money. It's something else. Some say it's a sick game, others that he's serving someone or something bigger. But everyone agrees, you don't escape Gary. The realization that we were being hunted by someone who wasn't bound by typical motives or reasoning, someone who played by an entirely different set of rules, was paralyzing. Our frantic chase led us out of town, into the winding country roads surrounded by thick forests. My headlights carved a narrow path through the darkness, and for a moment, I thought we'd lost the van. But I was wrong. Suddenly, there was a blinding light from behind. Gary was right on our tail, high beams focused directly into my rearview mirror. I swerved, nearly losing control. The road up ahead split in two, and I took the left, hoping to throw him off. As we sped down the narrow path, Jake suddenly pointed to a clearing on the side. "Turn there," he yelled. I swerved the car into the clearing, killing the lights. The engine's soft purring was the only sound as we waited, hoping Gary would pass us by. Moments that felt like hours passed, and there was no sign of the van. We began to breathe easier, thinking perhaps we'd lost him. But then, a soft tap on the window made us jump. It wasn't Gary, though. It was a woman, middle-aged, her face etched with lines of worry. She pointed towards a cabin in the distance. "You can hide there," she whispered. It was a risk, but staying in the car was riskier. We decided to make a run for it. The cabin looked like it had seen better days, with its wooden panels weathered by time and its windows clouded with dust. As we approached, the woman urged us inside. She quickly bolted the door behind us. "My name is Martha," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "I've seen that van before. It's not the first time it's hunted someone on this road." Jake and I exchanged a glance, both of us overwhelmed by the sudden turn of events. We found ourselves in a stranger's cabin, hiding from someone we barely knew anything about. "Why are you helping us?" I asked Martha, trying to piece together the situation. She looked down, taking a deep breath before speaking. 10 years ago, my son got involved with people he shouldn't have. One night, he came rushing home, terrified, saying someone was after him. He described the same van. That was the last time I saw him. Tears glistened in her eyes. The weight of her words hung heavily in the room. We sat in silence, listening intently to any sound from outside. An hour passed, then two. No sign of Gary or his van. "Maybe he's gone," Jake whispered, hope evident in his voice. We decided to take a chance. After thanking Martha, we made our way to my car. The night was still, only the distant chirping of crickets breaking the silence. Suddenly, as we neared the car, the headlights from Gary's van flashed to life from across the clearing. He'd been waiting. He revved his engine menacingly. Without wasting a moment, we jumped into my car, but it was too late. Gary was speeding towards us. The distance closed rapidly, and in a split second, the world seemed to slow down. Jake screamed, "Look out," just as the van rammed into us. Metal crunched, glass shattered, and everything went black. The next thing I remember is waking up in a haze. The car was wrecked, smoke pouring from the engine. My head throbbed with pain. Somehow, I managed to unbuckle my seatbelt and stumble out of the car. I called out for Jake, but there was no response. I found him a few feet away. He wasn't moving. Panic set in as I rushed over, but it was clear. Jake was gone. As for Gary, there was no sign of him or his van. It's as if he vanished into thin air after completing his dark task. I later learned that the local police had multiple reports of a mysterious van involved in various incidents, but they never managed to track it down. I'm sharing this now not as a warning but as a testament to Jake, to that night, and to the unexplainable evil that exists in the world. I hope no one ever encounters that van or Gary, but if you do, remember Jake's story and drive the other way. Faster than you've ever driven before. If these chilling tales send shivers down your spine and leave you hungry for more, don't forget to smash that like button. And to become a part of our eerie community, hit subscribe and join the Sacred Screams Sanctum family. Have any spine-tingling experiences of your own? Share them in the comments below, we'd love to hear them. Until next time, keep the lights on and stay safe out there.